Okay, so now that we have this, it should go quite smoothly. So what we're going to do now is we are just going to go ahead and go into Maya over here. And once again, I do expect that you kind of like know the basics of Maya and everything. So I'm just going to very quickly go through my list and just pretty much make most of these. These ones we cannot make yet. This one we need to wait until we have the entire environment placed. Same with this one. Okay, so yeah, basically we need to go back and forth a little bit. Because it looks like that there's more stuff that is unique. So, first one is a cube. That is going to be 1, 1, 5. And while I'm here, 5, 0.2, 4.5. Okay. So, 1, 1. And the z-axis is... Sorry, y-axis, I mean. The y-axis is 5 over here. Okay, so we got that one. I will place it correctly later on. Then we have this one, and this one was going to be 0.2, and this one was going to be 5, and this one 4.5, I believe. 5, 0. Yeah, so although of course the x's are a little bit flipped, that does not matter. Then we have this one, which is 5, 5, 1. So we can go ahead and we can go in here and do like a, let's see, so this one is going to be 5. This one is going to be 1. And that one is also going to be 5. So we got that one also out of the way. And I believe that that is pretty much, oh yeah, wait, the round pillar. 0.6, 0.6, 4.5. Let's go ahead and do that one. Cylinder. It's just a block out, so I don't need to worry about the segments yet. So it's going to be 0.6 by 5 by 0.6. Was it 5? You would think, yeah, 4.5. But then again, 4.5 no longer... Oh no, wait, actually, yeah, it does fit. Because it should not be used anywhere outside of those pieces. So I should be able to go 4.5 over here. Okay, so we got those also done. That looks really massive. That's not logical. There's no way that these are fine. Yeah, no way that that is so large. Let's go cylinder. Let's go in here and set the radius to 0.6 and 4.5. There we go. So now it does work, although it still looks really thick. But we can always change this later on. So we got these pieces over here. Let's have a look. So what I like to do, while modular plane, I like to do like a -B. So the next one is with a bottom trim. And basically the bottom trim ones are just the ones that I sometimes want to use just to add like an extra bit of detail. It's basically just going to be like an extra wall. And then if I go down here into my split edge rings, so I just have a custom shelf that has like the basic modeling tools. So I'm just going to add an extra edge somewhere along this line. And I'm then just going to go ahead and I'm going to extrude this out. That's enough for my blockout to indicate that this one is a modular wall with a bottom trim over here. Modular wall bend, we will wait with it. But we are going to later on bend like walls specifically at 15 degrees. Pillar square bottom trim. So for this one you basically just want to go ahead and you want to duplicate this pillar square, assuming that it will be around this location, although yeah, I hope that that is correct. Here, let me just turn on my wireframe. And then you basically just want to go ahead and you want to just set like your loop pretty much on the same level like this. And then you can just go ahead and you can just do a loop select around here. And then do like a Ctrl E. And for some reason it freezes a little bit. There we go. And I'm just going to push this out to also give it a trim around here. So that whenever we have these pillars, they will just nicely flow over like that. So we got that one done. So -B for blockout. -B for blockout. -B. Pillar round. Also done. Railings. Oh yeah, okay. So our railings are a bit interesting. What for railings are we going to... So those are basically these pieces over here. Now, the reason that these ones are solid inside of The Last of Us is of course because of gameplay. Because you need to be able to take cover against them. However, we don't specifically need to do that. So because the solid also makes everything feel very blocky. So I just want to like have a quick look and see. I'm not gonna do glass because glass, it would not be completely whole. It would like be broken. However, that would mean that we will need to make too many variations. So for now, I can probably just use a cube and just decide later on. But I kind of just want... Oh yeah, here, like this kind of stuff might work. Just like some kind of basic metal or anything like that. Let's use that as like a base. So for that one, let's see, at this point I probably want to first of all place these into the correct location. Okay, so placing these in the correct location is very easy. So over here we have a pillar. Now what I want to do is I just want to go ahead and I want to... sorry, I'm having a brain freeze. Go down here into translate and set this to 0, 0, 0. Here, let me just move all of this out of the way. We will clean this up later on. And I'm just going to organize everything into layers because right now they are easy models, but later on they might become, of course, more difficult models. So we got this one. Now, it's probably easier if we just do like snapping because we are snapping by 5. Oh, and let's set the snapping to around... Oh, actually, we do not need to set our snapping different. We can just set this to 2.5 over here. Because it is, of course, always even. So this one would also be 2.5, like this. And basically, so whenever you have a pillar, so we have this one, I just go ahead and press this little button over here, which will add a new layer and immediately assign your object. And I'm just going to call this pillar square trim. Let's do it like that. So let's keep the name very simple. And this is also going to be the name that we are going to have inside of Unreal. So then we can just go ahead and press the V button to turn it off. Over here I can go ahead and set this one in the center. And I can go ahead and call this pillar underscore square. And then I can again turn it off. We have this one over here. So let's set this to 0. And this one is not going to be 2.5. Yeah, this one's going to be a bit different. The thing with this is that I kind of like want to keep them in the center. So for cylinders, that's easy because all I need to do is I need to go to my tool settings and press edit pivot. And then snap to points. Then I can snap my pivot to this point over here. But for a square, it's always a little bit more annoying. So we got this one. And now, oh, sorry, then turn on snap to pivot, snap to grid. And then you can immediately like snap it to the grid over here. So 2.25. I could have figured that out. But let's go ahead and just call this circular pillar or something like that. And now for our walls, because they are going to be modular, we want to have the pivot point in a more specific location. Specifically what we want to do is we want to press edit pivot and we want to set this on this very corner because this will make it easier for us later on to just snap it all around. So we set it to the corner. We then go ahead and we snap this to 0, 0, 0 over here. As you can see. So that later on, if I just do, for example, a Shift D to clone it, you can see that now it does a very even snapping based upon our pivot point. So we have this one, so we can just call this wall underscore plane. For this one, even though we have the corner point over here, what you want to do... Oh, hello. Where is my entire shelf is gone. I'll figure that out later on. I don't know. I'll restart Maya. So basically what I want to do is I want to add a pivot and I want to snap it to this vertex over here, which would be the original wall so that they perfectly snap together if needed. So we got this one, turn off edit pivot. And now you can simply snap this one also to like your grid point over here. And you can simply call this wall underscore plane underscore trim. Like that. And for this one, it's probably easiest if we also set our pivot to this corner over here. So we are just trying to keep everything quite nice and even. So we have this one over here and we can call this one. Let's make this floor block underscore tick. And just in case, I also want to do a Shift D. Do not do Ctrl C, Ctrl V whenever you have something in a layer. Because when you do that, it will also duplicate the entire layer. Here, see, yeah, something is going wrong with my UI, so I will restart Maya. But basically, for this one, we can add this to a new layer and just call this floor block underscore. Oh no, actually, let's make this ceiling block underscore thin over here. And for this one, I'm just going to set my translate to 0.5. Like that, so that we also have like a slightly thinner one. So we got those ones done over here. Floor piece, modular, plane, B. The round piece I'm going to do a little bit later. So that's pretty much all I need for now to already get started with just setting everything up. So let's go ahead and save our scene. And I'm going to save. And this is also going to be our final structural pieces. So in the saves folder, let's call this structural pieces over here, and then we can save. Perfect. So now all you need to do is you basically just need to select them, go to File, Export Selection, and I'm going to go ahead and in our source files, I will make a new export folder that I will call 2_Unreal. And in here, you just want to basically give it the same name as your layer, because else things will just get too confusing. So pillar underscore square underscore trim. So it is very important to just keep your naming the same all the way across so that you can easily find everything if you need to make changes later on. So we are going to go ahead and call this pillar underscore square. This one is way too thick, definitely. I don't know why, but we'll see. Circular, pillar. Wall, plane, wall, plane, trim, floor, block, thick. Now 1 meter still feels really thick to me. But yeah, I'm not going to change it. I could change it to like 0.8. I'm tempted to do that. But then I would need to change everything. I would need to change every pillar. And then the values will no longer be even if I go into like the 0.8. That's why I like to go by steps of 0.5 at the very minimum. But rather I just stick with meters because meters are easier to work with. So we got all of this stuff done. We then go ahead and go into Unreal. And in our assets, all we need to do now is we need to import all of these pieces. Oh god, I did something wrong. Wow, that's a rookie mistake. I actually forgot to set this to FBX. So when you export selection, right now it is all set to Maya, but I forgot to set it to FBX over here. I've never done that before. I'm just going to pause the video. I'm just going to re-export them like this with FBX turned on. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so let's try that again. So we got all of our FBXs over here. And all I need to do now is I just need to import them. And a few very important things. First of all, go down here and turn on combine meshes. If you do not do that, when we later on have like multiple different meshes, it will try and import every single mesh as an individual mesh. And we do not want that. Next to this, you can pretty much leave everything on. We can generate light maps even though we are not going to use them. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my scale to 100 to compensate between the different metrics from Maya to Unreal. And then if I press import all, it should all be the same scale as we have over here. So let's say that we have like our Unreal pillar. I should be able to autosave, go in here and see. We now have all of these pillars that are all the same size. And if these are the same size, everything is the same size. Okay, perfect. So this stuff is pretty much done. What I can even do is I can go ahead and can delete all of this. Yes, okay. Here we go. And now what I want to do is I think so we are going to create a corner like this. So I think having this corner as like a center point would be best. So we are going to start with this corner and then we are going to work from that. So let's go ahead and in our next chapter we will mostly be placing around all of our different objects and just making sure that we are creating a proper blockout.